thanks and gratitude to Mukherjee sir for taking initiative in organizing this program, which was long overdue in any case. And then, of course, a lot of thanks to Surbhi ma'am and Mukund sir for fructifying it the way they have done so far. They have done, and having said that, I must tell you that this particular session will be found very useful by the students as well as by the faculty, for the simple reason that it is so much of applied nature and how we have achieved a lot of management success through NLP. Yes. And as far as I am concerned, if you ask me for my little bit of success in corporate, for moving up very quickly to the level of CEO in 3 companies and all that, that has happened mostly because I applied NLP to each and every area of functioning, whether it is HR, whether it is marketing, whether it is conflict resolution, whether it is striking a deal. Everywhere NLP had helped me so much that not only I have practiced that in my corporate, but in my personal life also. That is why many times when my friends, they ask, sir, when you become very old, I said, I am not getting old. I will not become old because I practice. That is also one of the things, reframing your subconscious. That also I'll also share with you. I'll share my thoughts with you. How you can reframe your subconscious. You can, if I've reframed my subconscious that at the age of say 43 or 44. So body is a slave of the mind. So this 44, 43, that mental state will dictate the body to behave exactly at that state. So body will not be allowed to behave at 60 or 62 or 63, whatever is the chronological age. That is meaningless. That is useless. We'll talk about that in detail. But we are talking here today achieving performance excellence through self-motivation and NLP. So the first part I'll talk to you first, how performance excellence has become the key to success in each and every area of our life as well as profession. It was not like that, my dear friends, because we started with a socialistic milieu after independence. And for us, the socialistic milieu taught us that whatever happens at the end of the day for the greater, so that benefit of the people, that is more important than anything to do with productivity. So a steel plant has to be set. It will be set up in a godforsaken place in a jungle so that electricity goes there, roads are built, and people get a good hospital, get school, and all that. And in the process, by mistake, if the steel plant is making some productivity, then well and good. Thank you very much. But even if you are not doing it, then also I am very comfortable. My basic purpose of setting up the steel plant was not productivity. Okay, so that socialistic fervor did not take us very far. All of you know that it took us always 3.3% growth rate. I was working in the credit planning cell of Reserve Bank of India those days, and every day, that time everybody will ask that they will be so shocked to see that the growth rate is never going above 3.3%, right? Because with that sort of spirit, a sort of socialistic approach, and less importance on productivity, that created havoc with our economy, as a result of which we could not go very far. And most important thing that happened, and I was monitoring being in RBI, the most important thing that happened was our export came down drastically low. And what should we export? Actually, our customs duty was kept at an abnormally ludicrous level of 750%, 800%, as a result of which anything you import from abroad will become so costlier, in India, that you will not import any, you will not bring anything. So in the process, the thinking was that we will be elbowing out competition and protect the domestic industry. But what happened was ulta. The ulta was that we started producing below the belt stuff, below the quality line stuff so much that we started, because our target was not international market. Our target was only domestic market from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. Okay. So any stupid thing you produce, it gets sold. And as far as the producer is concerned, he gets money. He's not interested to get his money in dollar. RBI was interested in getting in dollar for keeping the foreign exchange reserve high. But he's not interested. So why should he bother about the quality? Right. And that is how we started producing all rotten stuff. Even beggarly countries like Bangladesh and Nepal, they never used to import anything from us. Right. In such a situation, where from will we get foreign exchange? We did not get. But we needed foreign exchange. Not only because aeroplanes are not manufactured in rupees, they are manufactured in dollars, and dollars or franc those days. Now it is euro. So that is how. So unless you have adequate foreign exchange reserve, you cannot have you cannot pay the oil bill, fuel bill. We are importing huge fertilizer, huge medicines, and then a stage came where when Manmohan Singh threw up his hands, then only 7 days of foreign exchange is left. That is why when we went to IMF, IMF said you are a beggarly country. If you want to borrow from us, you have to change your economic policy. Not only will mortgage 6 shiploads of bullion we mortgage from Reserve Bank, we put in Singapore Central Bank on behalf for IMF as mortgage. In addition to that, they asked us to change the economic policy. And the first point out of 12 points, I was a member of a junior member of the committee, and I remember very clearly that the smallest point, the topmost point out of the 12 was what? That you reduce your customs duty to a reasonable level of 30 to 32%. And that is where globalization began. Many times, many of us mistakenly feel that globalization came to us as a platter, on a platter. It is not so. It was our majburi. Beggar is not a chooser. So IMF said you have to do it, and we did it. For that, all the RBI was gheraued. Opposition parties, they gheraued that you are going for another East India Company. That Dr. Manmohan Singh was very clear. He said that this decision will change the history of India. He said that time none of us we believed him. We thought that it may be a joke, but it has happened. It has happened, and now when the whole world is awestruck with India, okay, and our growth rate always by instinct is about 10%. Okay, COVID has made some impact, but believe me, friends, it will go definitely much beyond to 12 in 1 year time. So that is the spirit, that is the wild spirit of Indians. That is what he had said. Now, after globalization, a lot of competition came rushing into India. Earlier, they were not coming because of the high customs duty. Now they came rushing in because nobody can ignore such a huge market like India, right? And that is why they came rushing in. When they came rushing in, then the type of lethargic spirit that we had because of the customs duty being reduced and the domestic market being protected, we were like cocoon. That protection, it went off. Then Indians came to their full flurry. Okay, and that is how globalization began, and we started writing a different story altogether, right? And so when all competition came, and all of you know that when competition comes in, then what happens? Then there is a search for cutting edge, and the cutting edge was as to how to beat the competitor. And that time we found, that the only way we can do it possibly by improving our performance. And all of you will agree that performance is a very, very tactful and clever blend of two things: skill and motivation. Skill and motivation, technology, skill and motivation. But as you know, technology or skill, they cannot alone make you a winner. If that was so, the Gulf countries have long since won against a dot-like country like Israel. A dot-like country, Israel, is teaching them lesson every day. How? How is it possible? Because these Gulf countries, they have so much of petrodollar, they buy the best technology in the world from US and other countries, and they train their people by spending huge amounts of money, but still why they are not able to tame a dot-like country like Israel? So that will tell you as to what is the role of motivation. So skill and technology is important, definitely, yes. Without that, nothing can happen. But the most important driver will be your motivation. When we talk of motivation, then all of us somehow mistakenly, very mistakenly, we believe that motivation has to come from somebody. It has to come from somebody. So in the university, we look at our vice chancellor, sir, that he will be able to motivate us. In the campus, we look at our director, sir, that he will be motivating us. Okay, but in the process, that is what also was happening when I was CEO in the corporate. That time they will say, yes, Nandi sir will motivate. Yes, I used to do that. But why I told them, suppose I die tomorrow, I will not be there. Then you should be in a position to run the company in full glory. How are you going to do that? You cannot be on condolence for days or months and years. So slowly, when I decided to move to academics, I started training them in NLP skills as to how to self-motivate. Friends, it is very important in your personal life also. There will be disappointing things all around. If you are looking for motivation from others, then there may not be people always who will come to motivate you. Okay. And even if they are there, they have their own problems. They are also stuck with so much of negativity all around in the environment. So, and most important thing is, why should you give your life on hostage to others? That you motivate me, then only I will achieve excellence. No. You are empowered to create your own reality. This is the most important achievement of NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming. I'll talk about that. So friends, it is possible to how to go for self motivation. If you have time, you can read my book, Be a Habitual Winner, that is available in Amazon. Yeah. So you must be a habitual winner. That is what NLP teaches us. Otherwise, everybody will win. If you throw 10 stones, one stone will definitely hit the target, but that does not make you a habitual winner. That makes you an accidental winner. I am talking here today that all of us, till our death, we should be habitual winners. All of us must realize one thing, that we are blessed as supreme creation of God. Tell me, friends, how many of you are sure that you will not be born a chicken in your next birth? None of you is sure. I am also not sure. So this life as human being is the biggest blessing. And what happens to chicken on a Sunday? By the way, tomorrow is Sunday. Yeah. Suppose my student, I land up in the house of Hitesh, my student, Sunday tomorrow. Then he will suddenly say, okay, sir ko thoda chicken khila dete hain. So he will go with his wife to the market to buy chicken, and he points the finger to the chicken, and immediately chicken knows what is going to happen to it. Just think for a while, if this happens to you, then you will feel so highly motivated to achieve everything in this life, because you are not sure that you will not be born a chicken in your next birth. Nobody is sure. So the moment he is raising finger to the chicken shrieks, and because it knows that one finger is raised to it, then what happens next, right? Suddenly that time, suppose my student friend, his wife tells that no, this Nandi sir will be taking more chicken, so this ye chicken thoda chota padega. Okay, Priyanka says that ye chicken chota padega. So then suddenly he changes the finger. He was pointing to the red chicken. It suddenly changes, and it changes it to the black one. The moment the finger moves to the black one, the other chicken, the red colored chicken, says, bach gaya. And this black chicken knows what is going to happen. It ends up in my plate. So my dear friends, please remember that this is the biggest blessing of God. We must make full use of it. Life is very short. You have to package everything to it, and you can achieve anything in this life. And by only practicing only 3 metrics. The metrics is: dream big and chase your dream with all the passion. Never dream small. As you know what Peter Drucker had said, that the greatest tragedy of human life is not that we dream big and miss it, but we dream small and achieve it. Achieving any small dream is the biggest disaster in your life. because we are not meant for small dreams. We are meant to dream big. And my dear friends, by mistake also, suppose you have dreamed big and you have missed the dream, then what will happen? Many times you may think that it has gone wrong. Please remember that Columbus never wanted to discover America. He wanted to discover India, India, India alone. So he reached American shore by mistake, Why mistake? It was a blunder that he reached American shore. And when in American shore, all the red colored guys, they came out to see him. That time his conviction was so clear and he was so sure. His passion was so strong. That is what I'm highlighting on the word passion, Passion. His passion was so strong that I have reached India. He started calling them Red Indians. Okay, I've reached India, but they are Red Indians. And that is why even today the aborigines of America are called Red Indians, because a person called Columbus had committed the blunder of reaching the wrong place. But my question to you friends is, whether this mistake on his part actually prevented his name from being written in golden letters in the annals of history? No. If he would have discovered India, he would have been equally famous. So what is the difference between right and wrong? Suppose you are chasing your dream, big dream, and you make a mistake. Believe me friends, if the passion is very strong, then that mistake will become right, like it happened in case of Columbus. Okay. And you know about Wright brothers. When they were trying to fly the machine, the whole village came and started spitting on them, saying, you bloody fools, you are trying to fly a machine. Don't you know the simple thing that birds fly because they have wings? Please give up this stupid job and do something so-called sensible. And if they would have given up and done so-called sensible thing, then my friends, we will not be flying today. We will be still traveling by bullock cart. That is why the power of passion converts all mistakes to right, all wrongs become right, and you will find that your weaknesses, they become strength. All your weaknesses will become strength if you are chasing a dream with all the passion. I'll give you an example, a practical example. That, in a village there was my colleague, my junior colleague, he was a vice president marketing. Okay, so he was in a different company, of course, but he was vice president marketing. And then he went to the village. Then one guy who is a dumb fellow, jo haklata hai na ta, yeah, he came and he caught all of his feet and he said, "Ke Dada, please give me a job. I have my sister, my mother, my old father, and we are dying. We don't get food. Please give me a job." Then this guy said, I am in marketing department, in sales department. This is a sort of eye-opener for all my students, marketing and sales students, those who are attending this workshop. So please hear me out. So he said that I am in marketing sales department, where communication is a very powerful tool. And tum haklate ho and you cannot talk a sentence clearly. So how do I give you a job? I cannot give you a job. Okay, you've done your BA or MA or whatever MBA, but I cannot give you a job because you cannot talk. Then this fellow said, no, give me a chance. He was crying profusely. He said, okay. Then this fellow, he chalked out a plan. He said that I'll put him in a sterile territory. Incidentally, the company was in the business of printing and selling Bibles. So they put him in a sterile territory. He said that this guy will not be able to sell a single Bible here, because in the last 5 years nobody has bought a Bible there. All are atheists there. So I'll put him there so he cannot sell and automatically he will go home. I don't have to sack him. But what happened was the reverse. That in 1 month he ended up selling 10,000 Bibles there, right? And then everybody was surprised. His CTC was increased by 3 times and he was felicitated. In the felicitation function, the chairman said, tell us how you achieved this miracle. Do you know what he said? He said, I have not done anything. I'll go to a householder's house. I'll go to a householder's house. I'll knock the door. And the moment the householder opens the door, I'll open a copy of the Bible and I will say, don't buy this Bible. I'll read it for you. I'll read it for you. And that is the time the lady of the house, very kind-hearted person, she came near the door. She saw the type of agony and pain writ so large on the face of this boy when he is telling, I'll read it for you. He said, my dear friend, don't read it for us. I'll buy it. I'll buy it. And that is how he ended up selling 10,000 Bibles. So how do you say that being deep, dumb or hakla jo bhi hai, this was a weakness. And this weakness was converted to strength by this man only with the power of passion. And that is one thing that all of us should practice, and all my students, they should have it enough so that they will achieve a lot of glory in their life and make our institute the proudest one. Okay, thank you. Now, so now self-motivation is important because this is an instrument in your own hand. You don't have to give your life on hostage to others that if Nandi sir comes and motivates, then only I'll be motivated and I'll achieve something. Not needed. Tomorrow Nandi sir will die. But you should go on being a winner. You should become a winner till your death. Yeah. Yeah, I want to see you like my friend, Harshit, or somebody, a student of mine is standing with a flag. He's the winner, right? Yeah. So now, is it possible to become a perennial winner? Many of you will say no. Many of you will say no. But believe me, friends, I am saying it is yes, yes, and yes. You practice it from today, the NLP precepts that I'll be discussing. And even after that, suppose you lose somewhere something and all that, then you can call me. My cell number will be available. I'll share it with you. You can abuse me. But believe me, friends, you will become a perennial winner if you practice. Yeah. But for doing that, you should know how to self-manage. And in self-management, the most important part, all of us, we fail to manage is our mind. That is why I am coming with this quotation from Lao Tzu, the greatest Chinese thinker. So he says, he who conquers others is strong. Yes, he who conquers others is strong. But he who conquers himself is mighty. Conquering yourself is very important. When I say conquering yourself, the basic thing is conquering your mind. Because body is always a slave of the mind. Body ka koi value hai hi nahi. Okay, so whatever mind dictates, body has no option other than obeying and doing it. So, yeah. Then, yeah. So these are the 10 core beliefs unique to all peak performing people. I want all my students to be peak performing people. Okay, you should stand out in glory wherever you will stand, and you will never be part of the crowd. You will stand out of the crowd with a glorious flock. Yeah. So what are the 10 core beliefs? Number one is winners are not born, they are made. This is the biggest belief that is ingrained in your mind if you practice NLP. That winners are not born, they are made. Earlier, gone are the days when it was believed that he is born with a golden spoon in his mouth. Now every day you see so many people with silver spoon, forget about silver, not even wooden, iron spoon in their mouth. They are becoming winners. You look at the result of the Indian team in Olympic. Okay, you will see that all the people, the girls and boys who have done wonders, they come from what sort of background? They come from what sort of circumstances, and then how they have achieved it. So you have the ability to script your own future, and you have the ability to write your own history. You don't have to engage somebody to write your history. You can write your own history. You will remain a perennial winner provided you follow some important practices. We will be talking about that. So winners are not born, they are made. The dominant force in your existence is the thinking you engage in. I hope all of you will agree that what you think that happens. If you do not believe it, please believe it from today. What you think that happens. Okay. So many times, you maybe, I'll give you a very funny example, then you'll understand. Have you ever thought why all gods and goddesses are with Tathastu mode? Tathastu mode. Why Tathastu? Tathastu, Tatha Astu, Tatha Astu. What do you think that happens? Okay. Why they are in Tathastu mode? Because of this reason. And suppose my friend Hitesh, Lord Ganesha is also suffering from every day you see a lot of uncle, aunties and all that running, strutting, fretting, doing jogging. Many of them are doing Baba Ramdev's this and that. So you may be thinking that this is all they are doing for getting some cure, and everybody will be cured of whatever psychotic disease they have. So if Lord Ganesha is also suffering from diabetes and he is also going on morning walk and he is passing by the house of Hitesh, and Hitesh is thinking, I am on thinking, my dear friend. Let us be on thinking for some time. Hitesh is thinking, I am useless. मेरे से कुछ नहीं हो रहा है. I am a failure in my job. I am not getting any promotion. I am not getting any hike in my salary. My life is meaningless. My life is meaningless. Okay. Then Lord Ganesha is saying, Tathastu beta, Tathastu. Because he is moving with his raised hand, Tathastu hand, Tathastu. Now, who is creating reality for Hitesh? The next is, suppose he thinks, again he changes the mental spectrum and he thinks that I am not bloody part of the crowd. मैं जीत कर ही दिखाऊंगा सारा दुनिया को. मैं हारने वाला नहीं हूं. I am not going to be defeated. I'll win, I'll win, I'll win. I'll not only get a promotion, but I'll achieve everything good in my life. Okay. Again, same Lord Ganesha is telling Tathastu beta. Now you tell me, who creates reality for Hitesh? It is he himself. He is creating reality for himself by thinking the way he does. Because the moment he thinks like this, his conscious mind is getting programmed. And it is then putting this thought to the subconscious mind. And subconscious mind is like a mental spectrum. It is getting etched. It is getting etched with some memory lines. And that is now prompting your body to act like that. Okay. So the reality is created in your subconscious mind by, programming it. It is almost like Pavlov's theory of conditioning, as you know, that you practice something in conscious mind, the dogs, and possibly I need not repeat, but very briefly, just to recapitulate. Say at 12 o'clock, Pavlov will blow the whistle and fetch the dog and he will give a piece of flesh. He practices it for 1 month. This 1 month is important, my dear friend. Huh? He practices for 1 month. Next month, he does not fetch the dog. He just blows the whistle, the dog comes on its own by hearing the sound of the whistle. He practices and then he gives a piece of flesh. This is second month. Third month, the moment he blows the whistle and the dog comes, he does not give it flesh. Just see what happened. The entire body which was prepared, especially the salivary glands which was prepared to salivate so that the flesh can be digested. It has already started salivating. Then Pavlov saw that the entire area around him is resembling like a river of saliva because the dog has profusely salivated expecting the flesh, and this flesh Pavlov was not giving. Friends, our entire life process is like that. Right? If you practice something in your conscious mind, then it goes to subconscious. Subconscious dictates your body to pick up this habit. My mother in the village from which I came from, okay, so my mother, in the childhood, he taught us that anybody who is older than you, when he comes home, you must touch his feet and take his blessings. Okay, but my conscious mind was dictating, अरे ठीक है, but this fellow is dirty. तो चप्पल पहन के भी नहीं आया है, बाबा का फ्रेंड है ठीक है, बट चप्पल भी नहीं है उसका, Why should I touch his feet? Conscious mind was prompting me. Conscious mind was prompting me. And then I will not deliberately touch his feet. I'll try to go out of the house through the back door but my mother, she was so value-centric that she will be standing in the back door, give me 2-3 big slaps, and he will catch hold of my ears and bring me and say, bloody fool, touch your uncle's feet, take his blessings. And I did that. And after repeating it like Pavlov's dog for 2-3 months, it became a part of my life process. My body was so dictated that slowly, whosoever is older than me, he comes to my house, I'll not bother who is educated, half educated, his feet is dirty or whatever. I don't care. I'll immediately bow and touch the feet. So that is what happens. So if you want to create a good reality for yourself, you have to practice it. You have to practice it. Then you will find slowly it is getting, engraved in your subconscious, and subconscious is getting programmed. Yeah. So the dominant force in your existence is the thinking you engage in. Yes, we have discussed. Then you are empowered to create your own reality. This also we have discussed, that you are empowered. Don't ever say that I could not achieve anything because my father was not a bank officer, my father was not an IS officer, like this, stupid nonsense. Okay, you can create your own reality. Like I gave you the example of these Olympians who brought wonders for India. Yeah. So there is some benefit to be had from every adversity. Many times, you think that whenever you are struck with adversity, all of us we think, अरे मेरा हाथ क्यों तोड़ा? अरे भगवान तो इसका शौर्य का हाथ तोड़ देते हैं, उसका हाथ तो मेरे से अच्छा है, सुंदर है. Why भगवान मेरा हाथ तोड़ा? Why me? Why me? Why me? Why me? Right? That creates a lot of problems in us. But always feel that adversity does not come with a definition of its own. You give a definition to it by deciding the way you respond to it. It is again in your hand. You are creating your own reality. How you respond, that will decide whether the adversity crushes you under its feet or it comes to you as a friend, as a teacher, making you much wiser than before. Choice is, my dear friend, choice is yours. Choice, adversity is not doing anything. The way you respond, you are creating your own reality, right? So that is why we always say, whenever somebody is struck with any adversity, I tell them, एक ही क्वेश्चन पूछो एडवर्सिटी को, भाई मेरा एडवर्सिटी भाई बोलो, इसमें मेरे लिए क्या है, इसमें मेरे लिए क्या है. Believe me friend, there will be something for you in that, because God does not close all the doors on your face. If he closes one door, he definitely opens another 5 doors for you. But our problem is we are so selfish and self-possessed, and we are possessed with the closed door that continually will go and bang our head against the closed door, knowing fully well that the door will not open again. Sayad. We just turned around to see how many more doors are. तो उस दिन बोले थे minimum 5 door भगवान खोलते हैं, एक बंद करने के बाद. Let us see what are the other doors God has opened for us. And then you will find that there are other doors. Suppose Sayad you would have traveled through this door, then you would have created much better reality for yourself, right? So that is what, whenever there is adversity, ask only one question, इसमें मेरे लिए क्या है? उसमें आपके लिए जो है, please celebrate that. Please celebrate, and you will believe me, like I have faced a lot of adversities, but from every adversity I have emerged much stronger, and I have achieved much more than possibly I thought I was capable of. So adversity can really do wonders to your self-confidence and to your preparedness. Yes. Then each of your belief is a choice. Many times we do not believe this, but believe me friends, we are not animals that we do things by instinct. Always God has given us this sort of faculty that for any decision he gives us a choice. Suppose I give a slap to Hitesh, then Hitesh has got 3-4 choices. Hitesh has got 3-4 choices. One choice is to slap me back. The other one is to write a complaint to the campus director, or possibly to VC that this fellow is a stupid fellow. He should be thrown out. He does not know. Usko तमीज ही पता नहीं है. Okay. Third one is he can go to the police station, file an FIR, and fourth, very dangerous, he can find out my wife's number and he will fire her. He will fire her. So that is very bad. Okay, so out of these four, or simply he may remain silent. Out of these five, whatever choice he is making, he is creating reality for himself. He cannot blame anybody in life for this. So that is what. So each of your belief is a choice, and how to make the best choice, that is you. That is you. And you should sharpen your faculties in such a manner. That is why we are teaching management. Okay, that you sharpen your faculties in such a way that all your choices will be, your choice will be number one, right. First time right. Being first time right. The other day, one of the students was telling me, sir, in my interview, they asked me, why are you studying management? I said, simple answer. Answer is to be first time right. To be first time right. Any idiot will be third time, fourth time, 10th time right. If you try to throw stones, one stone will hit the target. That does not make you a habitual winner. That is there in my book also. So what I'm telling you, friends, is that if anybody asks you why are you studying management, give a very simple one-line answer, that to be first time right, because time is the essence in competition. We are in a very tough competitive scenario. If I am not becoming first time right, my competitor will walk 10 kilometers ahead of me and I'll be a follower. I'll be condemned to a follower. I cannot be a leader. And sir, I want to be a leader all my life. So that is why I am studying management. Yes, if you answer this and anybody rejects you, come and curse me, abuse me. No, it is not possible. Yeah. So then you are never defeated until you accept defeat as reality and decide to stop trying. Yeah, this is a very big realization. Many times you feel that, I was defeated. No, I have seen, I do a lot of counseling to the cancer patients as well as with the help of NLP, cancer patients and their relatives. Okay, you know the type of trauma they go through once they know that somebody is suffering from cancer. Yeah, right. But I have seen, my dear friends, very clearly, all the 5 or 4 ladies who are suffering from same cancer, same doctor in Tata Memorial is treating them, and same chemotherapy, same medicine protocol is being administered on all the 5. But out of 5, 3 will die in 1 month or 2 months. But another 2 are not dying. Why? Have you ever asked this question to any doctor? Whether they can answer? Same doctor, same medicine, same chemotherapy protocol, same stage of cancer. Why these 3 are dying? They are dying because, my dear friends, the day they came to know they are suffering from cancer, half of their body is dead already. And in the remaining half they are telling, अरे कैंसर हो गया, मैं तो मरने वाली हूँ, मैं तो जा रहा हूँ ग्रेव के तरफ, कोई अगर आ रहे हो मेरे साथ आओ मेरे साथ, मेरे को गुड बाय बोलने के लिए, अदरवाइज आई एम गोइंग. The other 2 जो डट के रहते हैं, okay, somebody is telling, I have heard them talking like this and they have survived. They will say, अरे my husband is such a big useless fellow, he cannot make a cup of tea for himself. My father is a paralytic, so much dependent on me, and my mother is a heart patient. All of them, they will die simply. And my children, ये अनाथ हो जाएंगे, रास्ते में भीख मांगेंगे, उनको कौन खिलाएगा, कौन देखेगा. सो मैं मरने वाली नहीं हूँ, तुम कैंसर हो, जो भी हो, मेरे को सैल्यूट करके इधर से जाओ, सैल्यूट करके इधर से जाओ. And believe me, friends, these 2 ladies, they survive for 10, 12, 13 years. How? It is because they do not understand what is NLP, but they have practiced it. They practiced it by programming their mind, by programming their subconscious, not to allow themselves to be defeated by cancer. So in any case in your life, any struggle you are making, you please remember this, that you are never defeated until you accept defeat. You should not accept defeat. Why should you? Again taking you back, you are born as human being, the supreme creation of God. आप तो जीतने वाले हो, आपको कौन हराएगा? आपको कोई हरा नहीं पाएगा, right? Yes, if disaster strikes you, there is something big disaster that has hit you, then I am not saying that by empowering your mind still you will be successful. Yeah, you can recover out of that by empowering your subconscious, but yeah, otherwise most of us we give consent. मेरे से और नहीं होगा, बहुत हो गया, मेरे से और नहीं होगा, I am surrendering. Okay, and then you are devoured. You are devoured. Yeah. So never do that. Yeah. Then you already possess the ability to excel in at least one key area of your life. So never call anybody useless. This is the thing I used to always practice in my corporate. You know, somebody will say the day I'll join, they will say, "Arey, ye aadmi faltu hai, usko kuch nahi aata hai." And he will be my test case. And believe me, there are many instances I have converted them, these dross, into gold. Because only thing you have to spot in which area he is good. If I am saying that we are blessed creation of God, God is not such a fool that he has sent you to this world without giving you any excellence in any area. We are not able to find out which is the area of excellence. There you cannot blame that person or God. It is your problem. You are so useless that you are not able to spot it. So this is what, yeah. The only real limitations on what you can accomplish in your life are those you impose on yourself. Yeah. Many times, you know, in confidence building workshop or training sessions, I use this exercise. I tell my in many classes also here in NMMIS I'm teaching. I tell them, can you sing a song? Suppose I am asking a girl, Harsita, please, can you sing a song? The immediate answer is no, sir. My voice is not very good. Today my throat has some problem. I'll sing tomorrow. Then my question is, are you sure you will be alive tomorrow? Okay. Then immediately she gets a jhatka. Yeah. I says, I have told you to sing like Harsita only. I have not told that you sing like Lata Mangeshkar. So what is your problem? Why are you not singing? No, sir, I am not singing because I tell that when you are a small child of 3-year-old, the moment I will tell you to sing, immediately you will sing. If not anything, Jana Gana Mana. Now you are 23 or 22, whatever is your age. You are a girl, I will not ask you your age. But whatever is your age, then what has happened in the last 20 years? That you are not coming forward to sing? Then you will say, sir, log kya kahenge? So then my question was, ye log aapke hai kaun? Suppose tomorrow you meet with an accident. Tell me frankly, how many of these log for whom you are sacrificing your life, you are sacrificing your passion? How many of them will be in the hospital to see you, to meet you? She herself said that no, sir, not more than 5. I said, who are those 5? Now 5, my parents, my brother, sister, and my boyfriend. Okay, so these are the 5 people. She is very clear that they will be in the hospital. I said, when you are so sure that these are the 5 people who matter for you in your life, are you not a fool that you are sacrificing your passion for these hundreds who, you know, you are telling log kya kahenge? Ye log hai kaun aapke liye? So friends, then I used to tell, and I am very happy that she has become such a successful leader in the corporates now. She always gives credit to me, sir, mera self confidence ko aapne to pura पहुंचा दिया आकाश में. I said that, you see, you will sing the way Harsita sings. I have asked you to sing like Harsita, you sing. If others, they are not accepting it, your answer is go to hell. This is my life, and I will sing the way I am capable of. Either you accept it or thank you very much. Yeah. So if you practice this, all of you, from today, you will find your self-confidence will be soaring high. There is nobody, there is no second Harsita God has created. You are unique to yourself. So you don't have to explain to anybody what you do or not do, right? Only thing, you should reach all your potential, and you should stretch your potential every day, because the environment demands that you should stretch your potential. Yeah. Then, so all these limitations, yes. And we put limitation, like in childhood, I had put the limitation that, I cannot dance. And when my son got married, then he told me, Papa, there is this, they may ask you to dance in the party. I said, I do not know. I am from a village. I used to jump like a monkey from tree to tree. I do not know how to dance. But ultimately I learnt, and then I started dancing in such a way that many of them, they came and said, sir, whatever you are today, these are all accidents. Your dance has got so much of style, so much of efficacy and style, that you are possibly supposed to be a dancer by birth. So whatever you have happened, these are aberrations. Okay. So it was so nice to hear this compliment. Okay. So friends, we can achieve, we can do anything. We put limitations on ourselves. मेरे को गाना नहीं आता है, खाना बनाना नहीं आता है. Many of the males, my friends, they will say मेरे को खाना बनाना नहीं आता है. I said, you show me 1 5-star or 7-star hotel. Thanks to my long stint top corporate job, I have stayed in very big hotels. There is not a single hotel where they have engaged a lady cook, any 7-star hotel also. No lady cook. Cooks are always gents. So I say, we gents, we are very good cooks by birth. If we say I cannot cook, only my wife is cook, it is a way that you are exploiting your wife, that you are doing it in a very tactful manner. Yeah, it is very tactful, but you are supposed to be a good cook. Okay. So सब हम कर पाएंगे. So then comes, there cannot be great success without commitment. You know that, and I also know it. So let us not talk about it. Commitment is very important. Then you need the support and cooperation of other people to achieve any worthwhile goal. Yes, you need. Yeah. So imagine what your world would begin to look like if you held these beliefs and part of your life. That is what I am requesting you. Make it part of your life. Okay. Yeah. Now come to this important issue, NLP. So this NLP is something which has totally galvanized my life and making me a very good success in corporate, in whatever job I have done. And at least in Narsi Monji, I am very proud to tell many friends, I don't want to name them, that they say, how is it that you are so youthful? Many of them they say, how is it that you are so youthful? You are in a position to deliver lecture for 4 hours, 5 hours at a stage, and you practice so much of this and that. That day I was riding scooty, then one of the friends said, अरे आप स्कूटी इतना एक्सपर्टली चला रहे थे. मैंने बोला मैं कार भी एक्सपर्टली चलाता हूँ, स्कूटी भी एक्सपर्टली चलाता हूँ. I'm a young man. Okay, so he was laughing. But frankly speaking, friends, if you practice NLP very meticulously, then you will write a different history for yourself. You take it granted for me. Now, what is NLP? So 3 words: neuro-linguistic programming. I don't have much time today. Possibly I'll with a lot of apology, I'll request Surbi ma'am to give me extra 10 or 15 minutes. Do I get 10 or 15 minutes, ma'am?
Sure, sir, sure.
Okay. Because I am slightly behind the schedule, as I see. Yeah. So what is neuro-linguistic programming, friends? What is neuro? Many of you who are students of psychology, you will understand that even if you are not student of psychology, like I have not studied many subjects, but I am very good at them because I do a very rigorous, self-learning program at home. So if you read psychology, you will see that your entire neurological system comprises billions and billions of dot-like substances. They are called neurons. Okay, they are called neurons. So what is a neuron? Neuron is a recording device. Okay, I'm making it very simplistic. So neuron is a recording device, and that recording device is recording your behavior, your response to the environment, stimulus response, stimulus response, your response, it is recording. I'll give you an example, then you will understand. Suppose my student, Vishwa, she is in the local train, and one Taklu person, one Taklu is getting into the train, same coach, and trying to be a bit fresh with her. I mean, going slightly closer to her, staring at her, and all that. The neuron in Vishwa is recording that Taklus are bad. Don't trust bald-headed guys. Okay, they stare, they create a lot of problems. So that is getting recorded. So that is codified now to prompt the body that Taklu people are bad. Next time a very innocent Taklu also gets into the train, then immediately the neuron is prompting Vishwa that, hi Vishwa, see now Taklu aa gaya, take care. So Vishwa will unnecessarily go to one side of the train, trying to avoid the contact with this man, this Taklu fellow, and all that. And the Taklu is wondering that why this girl is behaving like this, because he has not studied NLP. So he is wondering why this girl is behaving like this. Okay. Then another day, possibly same Biswa is traveling by a car or auto, and she meets with an accident, she breaks her leg or some minor injury, and another Taklu fellow is passing in the highway. He picks her up, takes to the hospital, then treats her very well, pays to the doctor, then a lot of juice, milk and everything, and then drops her home. The same neuron which was codified that Taklus are bad is getting decodified that no, सब Taklu बुरे नहीं होते हैं, कुछ Taklu अच्छे होते हैं. And don't be surprised one day Vishwa is deciding they falling in love with the guy and getting married. That is the extreme case of the neuron getting thoroughly decodified and recodified with all positivity. Okay, so that is about neuron. Now coming to linguistic. All of us, we know linguistic means, language. Okay. So what is the purpose of language? All of you will agree, communication. Especially my management students, they will say communication. And when they teach communication, they will say something which is slightly different from NLP. They will teach how you are, sending your message across, then the message feedback you are taking, whether the message has been recorded, this and that, all the theories of communication. But the simplest thing NLP defines communication is that communication is not what you say, but what you get in return. They say communication is inductive. That means what you get in return, that is important. There are many times you must have seen that there not a single word has been exchanged. A boy looks at the girl, there is eye contact, message is conveyed, and then they fall in love, they get married. Not a single word has been conveyed in the first meeting, but they fall in love. Such a powerful message. Okay, this message is without any word. So how do you say that words, they are very important to communication? They are not. Okay, yes, non-verbal communication, you can talk about that. And NLP deals with non-verbal communication in a very, very extensive manner. That is why I told you that maybe in some next 2-3 classes, I may take sessions on application of NLP for marketing, application of NLP for negotiation, application of NLP for conflict resolution, all these things which I have successfully done in the corporate. They, our students should be taught about that. Our student management students should be taught about that as to how to use NLP for successful marketing, successful sales and all that, right? Yeah. That would be a very exhaustive affair. Okay, so in linguistic, please remember there are 2 types of words. Achha, before I say that, let me tell you that, as I said, that words after repeated use, they lose their luster, they lose their significance. Okay, they lose their poignance. Words, because the communication ka basis to words hai na. So these words, they lose their poignance. How? Possibly you will not be understanding. When I was like the student like you, maybe in 22, 23 and all that, when I was studying in a college where Netaji Subhash Bose studied in Ravenshaw College, one of the days, my very close friend Srikant Chatterjee told one girl, because he was under bet with all of us. We told that if you tell, then we'll give you this party and all that. Because those days, it was very difficult to talk to the girls also in the class. Anybody who was talking, he used to give a party, right? So you are very lucky now. And mobile was not there. So he told, I love you. The news spread in the campus like wildfire. Wherever you go to library, go to dining hall, you go to any place. Arey, wo na aise aaj bol diya wo usko, right? But today, suppose somebody is coming and telling I love you, do you think the girl or boy is very highly impressed? The girl will possibly say, हाँ, मेरे को सुबह से तो 10-12 लोग बोल चुके हैं, you are 12th person. तुम्हारे पास extra क्या है? Because the word love is not sufficient to convey the intensity of feeling. So she is asking for extra. So why this word love has lost its poignance? it has lost its poignance because of the repeated use. Kutta, billi, chidiya. सबको I love you बोलते बोलते आपने love word का सत्यानाश कर चुके हो. So it is not really conveying the same intensity of feeling. That is why in communication there is a need to reinvent communication. And that is where NLP comes into the picture. NLP has prepared a glossary that the words can be classified into two. One is hypnotic word and the other is non-hypnotic word. The moment you are using hypnotic words, you will be more successful in your communication. Again, I'll give you an example. Suppose you say that, this is excellent. The moment you say excellent, excellent has a hypnotic index of just 4. But the moment you replace the word excellent with amazing, oh, it is amazing. The hypnotic index of the word amazing is 9. So there is no prize for guessing that which word you should use in your communication. You should use only hypnotic words in your communication, which I successfully did when I was striking deal with different parties in India and abroad for my companies. Okay, so you should know how to communicate with hypnotic words, right? And then you will find that you are more successful. So that is about linguistic. Then programming, I have already told you that whatever you practice in your conscious mind, it goes to your subconscious and subconscious gets programmed. Okay, then it dictates body to pick up that habit. And that is how, it helps. So if you want to achieve anything, a lot of applications of NLP. I have done many sessions where, in goal setting, how do you set your goal? You set your goal, then you program your subconscious, you achieve it. That is how many of my students they have achieved, and they are so grateful to me for that. Right? Yeah. But this NLP, it took its birth in the hands of two Bandlers. One is computer science professor Richard Bandler and John Bandler, who was a linguist. Both were close friends. So it happened like this. A very simple example I'll give you. Simple story, not story, anecdote, because I have learned in the same institute in Florida where he is still sitting. He's a professor, Dr. Richard Bandler. Still, he's a professor in that World NLP Institute of psychoanalysis. Yeah. So he one day was attending one seminar, and the seminar was being addressed by a Chinese guru. And the Chinese guru, being an Oriental guru like our Indian gurus, after the talk was over, he was talking about psychoanalytics. And then after the talk was over, then he said that since today we have learned something, because Chinese also, they have this Oriental philosophy of treating learning as divine. We call Ma Saraswati. They do not call Saraswati, but they treat it as divine. He said that you now close your eyes, stand up, close your eyes and pray to your respective gods and goddesses, thanking them to have given you an opportunity of learning today. So everybody stood up, and that is why when Richard Bandler, he stood up, he found there is a hush sound from nearby lady. The lady is telling, see, I can stand, see, I can stand, see, I can stand. Then this man took her by side to the one side of the hall and said, Madam, why are you excited? Everybody is standing and you are telling, see, I can stand. You are very excited. Then she pointed out at the wheelchair in which she was sitting. She said, for the last 28 years, I am on this wheelchair. Okay, when I was 7-year-old, my parents, they had taken me on a trip, and there we met with an accident where my spinal cord was so badly crushed that the doctors across the globe said you cannot be able to stand in your life ever. So give up that hope. Always be in the wheelchair. And I was in the wheelchair. Today what happened to me, see how this powerful science was born. It was born out of this. That today what happened to me, I do not know. I am able to stand. Then this Dr. Richard Bandler, who was a professor of computer science, he said that bye-bye computer science. Now I'll do research on this. What happened to her today? What happened to her today? And from that, this powerful science took its birth. Actually, what happened was that for the last 28 years, all the renowned surgeons across the globe have continuously hammered our subconscious that you cannot stand ever in your life because your spinal cord is so badly crushed. You can never stand. So never ever try, never ever try, never ever try. Right? But after 28 years, the subconscious is so powerfully programmed. It was dictating body never to try. But today, because she was so much engrossed with the talk of this Chinese guru, okay, that her subconscious became neutral. As a result of which the receptivity of her conscious mind leading to subconscious, it prompted the body that when he said that please stand up and pray to your respective God, she stood up. Because there is no inhibition. There is no inhibition from body. So then this fellow, this scientist, this Dr. Richard Bandler said that yes, if you are able to program your subconscious, then you are able to achieve anything in life, as the lady is able to stand, and now she will be not only standing but she will be running also, right? And then of course the linguist part I have already briefly told you. Yeah. That was the contribution of Dr. John Bandler about the hypnotism in language, as to how to make the language hypnotic to make it more successful communication. So this is what I have already explained to you. So this is what programming conscious mind is. Please remember, conscious mind is only 7%, and subconscious mind is 38%. Unconscious mind is 55%. Okay, so many times we are slightly now with the NLP and all that, we are exploring the subconscious mind, but we are still not exploiting the full potential of unconscious mind. But that is a very powerful area, and that is why one of my students is doing her PhD on dream harvesting, because dreams are occurring only in the unconscious mind. Because from that she wants to come out with the threads as to how to try to solve a problem in a different way in many management situations. Very challenging. I do not know what is the future, but yeah, we are working in that area. Yeah. So then friends, left brain is the brain of certainty. Okay. So right brain is the brain of uncertainty. NLP always encourages you to act from the right brain, not from the left brain. So what is certainty after all? Dead bodies are the most certain things. Okay. They lie in the cemetery like this. Okay. Right. But uncertainty means possibility. Uncertainty means possibility, and possibility gives you a lot of life in whatever you do. So opportunities always come disguised as uncertainties. Many of the times, opportunities come disguised as uncertainties. Yeah. So that divides, you to possibility thinker and impossibility thinker, and all depends on attitude. Okay. Attitude, all of you know, but NLP's approach to attitude is slightly different. Okay. So I'll not, what you know, I'll not repeat, but you do not know that, I'll slightly repeat. So attitude, many times, we say attitude brings you altitude in life, and it is in your hand. Many times you think that it is not in my hand. Attitude is in your hand. That is in your control. How you respond to the situation, as I told. So stimuli is the plural of stimulus. This man, suppose he is Hitesh, then he is getting bombarded with a series of stimuli. Okay, stimuli, and the collectivity of response that defines your attitude. Yeah. So stimuli environment cannot always be changed. Many times, like fools, we try to change the environment, whereas the most important weapon in our hand is my response system. The way I respond to the environment can still make me a winner. The environment may be very bad, but still I'll be a winner, right? And that is possible by developing the right attitude and then inculcating in your body and mind through conditioning of the mind, as I have explained to you. Body has no alternative. Yes, I have told this. Then mind has 4 states. Okay, maybe the class in which we will do some exercises. That time, I'll be talking about it. The affirmation through anchoring, then programming of your subconscious. How to do some practical exercises are required. We'll be doing it in future, stage by stage. But today there is no time. So now these are positive, repetitive affirmation yields effective result. Many times you say, भगवान मेरा prayer सुन रहा है, उसका क्यों नहीं सुन रहा है? Believe me, friend, there is nothing like prayer. There is nothing like prayer. You are only practicing NLP there. So it is positive, repetitive affirmation yields effective results. If I give you a funny example, then like suppose Hitesh every day he goes to Lord Shiva's temple and then he's praying. And continuously he is praying that either most of the time our goal is either to be rich or to marry a certain girl whom you are in love with and all that. Okay, so suppose after 3 months of prayer your subconscious is thoroughly programmed. Hitesh subconscious is thoroughly programmed. Okay, thoroughly programmed. So suddenly you will find that she is moving around the house of the girl whom he loves and all that, and then tries to be very friendly with the family people, this and that, and he succeeds. That time he comes to the temple and breaks a coconut. That time Lord Shiva is telling, बेटा मैंने कुछ नहीं किया, तुमने NLP प्रैक्टिस किया इसीलिए तुम्हारा हो गया. ठीक है, नारियल लाए हो तो तोड़ दो. Right, that is what prayer is. You create your own reality. So positive thought, positive emotion, then action, habits, character, then destiny as a winner. So the starting process is positive thought. What you think that happens, what you think that happens, and it has to be always positive. Please remember that our mind is always obsessed with negativity, the mental spectrum. It has a magnetic spell to catch on negativities. Okay, that is why you will be always trying to take forward the negative thoughts, but you have to make a conscious practice to convert it to positivity. Like suppose I tell one girl, I tell one student, Priyanka, I said that you are you are very intelligent, you are very charming, you are very beautiful, and everything good, I say. But suppose at the end I will say, Priyanka, everything is good, but I think you are not taking good care of your hair, because I see two, three white hairs, strands of white hair in your head. Now no prize for guessing where Priyanka will go the moment she goes back home. She will go to the mirror and say, अरे सर मेरे को बुढ़ी क्यों बोले, मैं सचमुच बुढ़ी हो गई हूँ क्या? She will look at the white strands of hair. She will forget that 10 points I have said positively, that very intelligent, very beautiful, very charming, very sweet. ये सब positive है. 7 good points minus 1 negative is 6. Still ये 6 के ऊपर उसका emphasis नहीं है. Her emphasis is on that white strand of hair. So subconscious has a problem also, though it is very powerful tool. It will always catch negativity like magnet. So you will have to convert it to positivity. You always think about somebody's positive things, not negative things. If mind is calling for negative, then push it. You try to obliterate it by reframing the subconscious, on which we will be doing a couple of exercises. Then you will see how powerful it is. Yeah. Then just like a great building stands on a strong foundation, so does success. And the foundation is attitude. This is a Harvard School study. You see that attitude contributes success, because they had made a survey with all Nobel laureates, and then they found some 100 or 150 Nobel laureates. They found that for their success in life, attitude has played 85% role, and knowledge has played only 15%. This is the biggest discovery in your life. Many times you say, मैं सेकंड डिवीजन पास किया, थर्ड डिवीजन पास किया, इस सब का 5 पैसे का वैल्यू नहीं है. राइट, प्लीज रिमेंबर that if your attitude is very strong and you have the power of building passion for anything, then these things will not play a very important role. You have scored less mark because you are not good in mathematics. So mathematics, and our education system says mathematics is the king. Unless you are good in mathematics, you are hopeless. But it is not so. You are very good in liberal arts. You are very good in general knowledge. So you have moved to the top. So how somebody can say that you are useless just because you did not know mathematics? So don't give a lot of importance to knowledge. Always look for the attitude. And these all of you know, I will not repeat. How only attitude adds up to 100. Okay. Yeah. So this I'll finish and then we'll close. Surbi ma'am, with due apologies, maybe another just 4 to 5 minutes. Yeah. So this is attitudinal engineering. It happens in many cases, suppose in a team, you are heading in the corporate, then you will find that some of them are very negative. Whatever you say, they will say ye nahi hoga, right? Then how is it possible to do engineering of attitude? It sounds very funny to you, but believe me, engineering of attitude can be done. And for that, you have to do mental dieting. Okay, what is mental dieting? All of you are familiar with physical dieting. The road jogging itna karna, Baba Ramdev ka fa karna, oh this and that. These are physical dieting. So mental dieting, this is a 10-day miracle course. It starts from today for you, all of you. Yeah. So practice PMA. PMA means positive mental attitude. Okay, be always positive and practice positivity of thought. Even in depressing situation, find out the silver lining, darkest cloud, seek affirmation through sense of humor. Two things are important. Have positive mental attitude, and I have told you, कोई भी negative बोलता है उसको आप positive में घुमाओगे ही घुमाओगे. ये आज से आप शपथ कर रहे हो, positive में घुमाऊंगा घुमाऊंगा. Second is sense of humor. Okay. Sense of somehow we Indians we believe that somebody who looks very serious must be a learned person. This is the most foolish concept we have practiced over the last centuries. Okay, believe me friends, unless you have a sense of humor in tough corporate life, you cannot succeed. You cannot succeed. You should know how to smile at people and you should know how to create humor. But only difference is when you create humor, don't create humor at the cost of others. You create humor at the cost of yourself. Believe me, all of us are not complete human beings. We have shortcomings. Like I have shortcomings. I am a Taklu fellow. Okay, I am a Taklu. So I have got about 20 stories about Taklus. So whenever in the corporate they will say, sir, ek story sunaiye, ek gana gaiye. Okay, immediately before it ends in their mouth, I will start. Right? And story, I have 20 stories. And that is why when you laugh at your idiosyncrasies, your shortcomings, everybody will respect you. The reason is they will know this man is so self-confident that he knows how to celebrate his weakness. Right? Yeah. So you should have sense of humor at your own cost, not at the cost of others. Recollect the past for getting inspired, not getting inhibited. Many times you always, as I said, subconscious catches on to the negativity. All the past things where you have suffered, these things will be coming to your mind. Not the good things, maybe a lot of good things you have done in the past. You try to recollect and try to condition your mind with a lot of positivity. Focus on maximizing your strength and develop core competency around that, you know that. Then, you should always thank yourself by patting your back. If you have done a good thing, you have helped a beggar, you have bought a vada pav for a poor beggar, and you have given, you don't wait for others to thank you. You pat your own back. In corporates, many times it happens that, the bosses, they will not thank the subordinates and the team members for the good things they have done. That time you should not feel demotivated. You say, okay, I have done my job. If that man is not giving me recognition, it is his problem. Let him go to hell. You pat your own back. Okay, and you thank yourself. Catch people doing something right. Many times, we are in the habit of catching people doing something wrong. Only when people are doing anything good, you will not be saying a thank you also. If you are saying, then that is good. But if you are many times, in corporates, they will be very indifferent. They will say, हाँ ठीक है, किया तो किया, ठीक किया, okay. But when you make a mistake, immediately charge sheet is issued to you, right? But please practice from today. Catch people doing something right, whether in your personal life or in corporate life. You practice it from today, saying thank you to everybody. I know many of you, including me, we always take our mother for granted. I learnt it from her. Mother for granted. Whenever my mother used to cook very good fish curry, this and that, I'll not say a small thank you also to her. I'll not go and hug her. That mom, आज बढ़िया मच्छी बनाया था आपने. Okay, I'll not do that. I'll not do that. But when she is not there, that time you will silently cry that why I did not hug my mother. The same thing happens, my dear friends, in corporate also. Many boys and girls, they are astoundingly bright, but we do not thank them. But when they resign and go, that time silently you cry. I have done that myself. So please don't do that. Always try to, be very forthcoming in giving credit to the people when they are doing something right. Allow mind to be creative, spontaneous and all that. Yes, that Okay, then find out some idiosyncrasies, foliage and foibles in you. This I have told you. Okay, then develop MAEQ. Here important point hai. What is MAEQ? Mental attitude and enthusiasm quotient. Nowadays in corporates we used to test enthusiasm quotient test. Don't think that only corporates they test intelligence quotient or emotional quotient. No, we test enthusiasm quotient. What is enthusiasm? Your ability to create a lot of energy. Creation of energy is the most important driver to positivity and achieving things in your life. Okay, how do you create energy in yourself? Okay, because it is a difficult process. You are always surrounded by two types of people around you. One is a energy booster. In somebody's presence, you know, your energy level goes up very high. Okay, my students and my relatives, they say that when you are there is a fire in the environment and all that. How much truth is that I do not know, but yes, they say. But similarly, in your relatives, you will find there are many who the moment they land, there is a fire in the atmosphere. There is so much of energy in the atmosphere. The other section is energy busters, BUSTERS. They are the parasites. In their presence, your energy is sucked. They are like vampires. They suck your energy and they leave you high and dry. So try to avoid their company because that is self-destructive. They are creating a self-destructive process in you, right? So we try to, select in corporates, we try to select in the corporate people with high enthusiasm quotient, so that with the type of fire and zeal, you will ride the mountain in the hot sun. Yeah, that is the ultimate test. Each and every individual is gifted one way or the other. Meet anybody, consider to be learning opportunity. Yeah, my friend Harshita, whenever anybody meets her, she will not allow him to talk. She will talk, make the other person listen. This is actually self-defeating process. If you allow other person to talk, then you are getting an opportunity to learn a lot of things from him. So please do that. Look at problems as opportunities, because the management language of problem, management definition of problem is when others have failed. Because others have failed, it is coming up to you as a problem. So what is the moral of the story? That you should live up to the situation, you catch the bull by horns and solve the problem. Once you do that, then you stand apart from crowd, and if you are not bloody part of the crowd but out of the crowd, then everybody will idolize you, everybody will give you a lot of respect, everybody will try to give you a lot of incentive, promotion, everything will come to you, right? So whenever there is problem, be grateful to God for having given you an opportunity. Yeah. Finally, always keep the underprivileged in mind and thank God. Yeah. So many times, when something happens to you, when you look at the underprivileged people, you always keep in mind, thank God that He has been so kind and so blissful that this has not happened to you. When see, my left hand is broken. Okay, both ulna and the radius, they are broken. Of course, surgically corrected. But when I was on plaster, then I was moving in the Juhu beach. That time I saw somebody who has lost both his legs and his wife was pushing him in the wheelchair. I had the curiosity. I asked Madam how it happened. He said, in Kargil war, my husband was in the army and he lost. In Pakistani fire, he lost both his legs. Immediately मैं अपना चप्पल पप्पल खोल के भगवान को उधर ही खड़ा होके प्रेयर किया. I said, God, you have been so kind to me that you broke my hand, but you are so thoughtful. Your love from me was so strong that you broke my right hand, my left hand. With right hand, I have been able to achieve a lot of things in life. Always be grateful to God for whatever He has given you. Always be grateful to your parents and your relatives, your friends for the help they have given. Because gratitude creates a lot of positivity in you. If you are ungrateful to somebody, ingratitude creates a lot of negativity, my dear friends. Yeah. So these are the 10 big differences. Another 1 minute, Surbi madam, 1 minute just. See,
Sure,
thumbs up. Yeah, thumbs up person. He says that he is making mistake, and he is very humble. He says, yeah, I was wrong. Yes, I'm not God. I'm not supposed to be always right. Yeah, I was wrong. But this fellow, the loser will always say it was not my fault. He will blame, ये तो मेरा fault नहीं है, सुरभि मैडम का fault है, नहीं तो दूसरा किसी का है, right? Yeah. So credits is good luck for winning, even though it was not luck. They do not, they will say God's yeah and all that. God has blessed me. They will not take any credit. Yeah, but these people they will credit their bad luck for losing, though it was not luck. They themselves were responsible. See, works harder and has more time. Again, I am telling you, friends, life is very short. You cannot plan that I'll do this, then on completion of this I'll do that. No, parallelly you have to do everything. You have to be multifunctional. The other day, some companies where I have worked, they call me and they take me as a sort of advisor. They said that they have sacked so many people. I said, why? Now we have made all the people multifunctional. Now my HR head is looking after marketing. My HR head is also looking after, the negotiation, etc. Okay. So all the people, all the heads, they are becoming multifunctional. As there will be crunch in the corporate, they will want multifunctional people. And why you cannot be multifunctional? You can be multifunctional. Like my friend Hitesh, when he got married, he told his father that, Papa, I want a multifunctional wife, that she should be very good. She should be very good in cooking. She should be very good in singing. She should be very good in dancing. So that if it is rain, then both of us can go out and dance also. Right? And that is how, that is how, he got married to Priyanka, who was good in everything. That is what, yeah. So a busy man has time for everything, but a lazy man does not have time for anything. So always you have to find time. Time is the essence of in any competition, and time is the essence for success. So you work hard, he is working hard, but still he has time. But this fellow, he says he is staying always busy at failure. So he goes through a problem, thumbs up, winner, and loser, he goes around a problem. He shows he is sorry by making up for it. Yeah, he says he has no problem. If I made a mistake, I should say sorry. Don't, please remember here, important point. Don't take time to say sorry. Okay, because the moment you are taking time, your ego is building up. Always you must have felt, 2 दिन के बाद sorry बोलना कितना मुश्किल होता है. That is why if you made a mistake, say sorry instantaneously. Right, the matter is over. Yeah. So this fellow loser, he repeats the same thing, knows what to fight for, what to compromise. This fellow, he compromises. He said, winner is a learner, he is a student. He says, I am good, but not so good as I ought to be. Yeah, that is the path for excellence. But this fellow will say, no, I am very good. Everybody, you know that very well. So he responds, he respects those who are superior. But this fellow, he resents, he is resentful. He is responsible for more than his job. Yeah, that is what I have seen in the corporate. There will be somebody, it is not his job. If we find that the sir is struggling, it is already 9 o'clock in the night, he's still not going home. I said, why are you not going home? Why are you here? No, I thought that, sir, for some need, suppose you may call me, then I'll be able to help you, sir. Okay. Then you feel very deeply touched. It is not his job. He must have missed his local train. His wife will fire him. But still, this man, is in a position to enlarge his responsibility to help me in an area in which he may not be very familiar also. Yeah. So this is loser. There ought to be better way of doing things, because in the path for excellence, there is no finishing line. So he says, whatever I have achieved, it is only, it is only a stage in the process. It is not the ultimate. Yeah. And this fellow is a status quoist. He says, why change it? Yeah. The winner is always part of the solution, and as all of us we know, loser is a part of the problem. Yeah. Then he always has a program. This fellow has an excuse. Yeah. He says, let me do it for you. This fellow, he says that is not my job. You meet many people like that. Okay. So winner sees an answer for every problem. This fellow sees problem in every answer. Okay. Then it may be difficult, but it is possible. Yeah. Winner says. Loser says that it may be possible, but it is too difficult. Yeah. So I'll not go into SWOT, because when we try to we go for the leadership coaching workshop and all that, there we do this, and then we try to set NLP for goal setting and all that. I'll not talk about it. I'll stop it here. Thank you very much, friends. And if you have any question, please ask me. Possibly another 2-3 minutes. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Sir, namaskar, sir. I am very grateful to you that you are hearing me.
Yeah, Nandi Saab, first of all, let me congratulate you for your some disturbances there. Yeah, for your very, very passionate talk and the way you spoke about this issue of self-motivation and the NLP, it speaks volume about your passion about this particular subject. Something is there in the
Thank you,
background,
sir.
I know.
Thank you.
But sometimes I wonder, Nandi Saab, that we have been the land of rishis, munis, yogis, people like Mahatma Gandhi, who said that if you want to see the change, then be the change that you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
हम देखें विवेकानंदा, he said, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is achieved. And
Yeah.
then we have so many other sayings. You also spoke whatever you said, sir, today. All these are there as part of the preaching of our sayings. हमारे
Yeah.
साधु संतों ये
Yes.
सारी
Yes.
बातें
Yes.
कही हैं
Yes.
समय
Yes.
पर.
Yeah.
इसके बावजूद भी, in spite of all these things that we have in the land of rishis, munis, yogis, and people like Vivekananda, Mahatma Gandhi, and so on and so forth,
Yeah.
how come today we are still, let me say, one of the emerging economies today, but then we have the 50% of the poor people live here in India.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
because of a socialistic model of economic development that we adopted, or something else is there at the root?
No, possibly, sir. Thank you very much for your compliments. And whatever little bit I have achieved must be your blessings and good wishes. But yeah, so important thing is we cannot blame entirely the socialistic milieu for this. But it is a fact, that in ancient times Chinese economy and Indian economy, they are the most robust economies. So we are plundered, we are looted, and this and that. Centuries of gulami that has destroyed actually our self-confidence to a very large extent. And I see that the way my father's generation people talked, we were different. Now, what I talk, of course, I talk slightly differently because I practice NLP, but my generation people and their children, they are totally class apart. The next generation are the generation of winners. They are the winners. And believe me, sir, you will see we are the youngest, will be the youngest civilization for another 10 years. And I am very sure we are born to rule and will be ruling. The golden days that we have lost because of our gulami and all that, these are the things of the past. Now these youngsters who are our students and all that, they are going to charter out a new history for my country. And all of us, possibly that time, will be in our deathbed, will feel so proud of our youngsters. I am very sure about it, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I do think so.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, any other question from anybody?
Yeah, so thank you so much, Nandi sir, for having
Thank you.
this wonderful session, sir. And I must tell you that few key things that I have extracted from this session, like a positive mental attitude that will help
Yeah.
us in a long way, and also talking about the importance of humor that
Yeah.
most of us in this tough competition have actually forgotten. And
Yeah.
we believe that, especially at workplaces, one needs to be very, very calm and composed.
Yes.
But highlighted the importance of humor today and also about self-motivation in short.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for these valuable, key takeaways. I agree that you've been practicing this wonderful technique, and I'm sure all of us will be benefited. We'll start practicing this day onwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Uh,
Hello, sir.
Madam, can I ask one question? May I ask one
Sure,
question?
sure. Please go on. Please go on.
Yeah. Good evening, Dr. Nandi. This is Professor Nilesh Kumar from Mumbai campus.
Oh, great, great, Nilesh sir, बोलिए.
Yeah. बस मेरा एक ही सवाल था आपके लिए.
हाँ, बोलिए.
Because I normally also teach subjects pertaining to ethics and corporate governance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is there a correlation between NLP programming, NLP techniques, and trying to make somebody ethical? Could there be some correlation?
Yes, yes.
Because
this is a very. Yeah.
Yeah, because let me just complete my question. Because
Yeah, please.
with
please.
all so many scams going on around the globe, Arthur Anderson and all the corporate governance, schemes are there, and certain strictures are there, right? The Sarbanes-Oxley Act, and things like the Lehman Brothers crashing in 2008, the global meltdown. So,
Yes.
do you think NLP could help in trying to bring a transformation in terms of making people more ethical at the business workplace?
Yes, Professor Nilesh, I must compliment you actually for this is a very, very good question. And in fact, we have discussed this in many workshops earlier, and it is always felt that you can, when we teach ethics or in the corporates, we practice ethics workshop and all that we used to do. That time we are heavily relying on NLP. And as I gave you the example that my mother used to tell me that you must touch the feet of the seniors when you come home, and then slowly through Pavlov's theory it gets conditioned in my subconscious mind. She did not learn what is NLP, but what she taught me is that, like the same thing we have felt also, people like my uncle, he never changed job. When he was working in Tata, he worked for 38 years in Tata, and he was very surprised that I was changing job every 5 years. I have changed 7 jobs, sir. And I was changing jobs. Then he said that either something is right with Tata or wrong with Tata. Then I later on found out that the right thing they practice, they also practice NLP. The training they give on ethics and values, they have such firm roots on NLP. So more the NLP process is imbibed in our curriculum. I should say that it should be a part of our curriculum, and then it is not only taught and practiced, then the right value system can be created. You can curate a value system. Like Tata's, they curated a value system that even if we miss any contract, we will not bribe the government babus. They never bribe government babus. I have seen, I have been in corporate in top position for 15 years, and there are situations I have come in contact with them. They will not bribe. They will prefer losing it, and that is that sort of value system. They in their training center NLP, I have seen, I have talked in their training center 3-4 times. Their training curriculum is built on the basis of these practices. Yeah, it is possible.
Oh,
yeah,
great.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks for the answer. And I think it was a pretty much interesting session we had today with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, and kindly share your contact details, please. Would like to talk to you personally.
Yes. I'll find out your email ID and then I'll send to you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Have a nice weekend.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah. So any other questions from any other attendees?
Yeah, please come on.
Okay, I don't think, sir, any other questions are there.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks all of you. Thanks all of you. And possibly we can conceptualize application of NLP to different other management areas like marketing and all that. As I said, each and every area can be curated, can be actually conceptualized. Yeah, that slowly we will do it. but today I think this is how we have started. And
Yeah.
thanks all of you. Thanks Surabhi ma'am for organizing it so excellently well. And thanks again, Mukherjee sir for taking the initiative. And thanks Manjari ma'am. Thanks everybody for organizing it. And Salim sir and everybody has been so nice to me. And thank you very much. And namaskar and good evening
Thank you.
to all of you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Bye.